What's going on there, everyone? Well, I wish I could say I was shocked by this, but sadly I'm not. 1 in 3 millennials see communism as favorable, survey finds. The hell is wrong with y'all millennials? My group, what is wrong with y'all? Have y'all all lost your damn minds? Seriously, man. God bless it. What you want to do to this country is just destroy it. Why don't y'all just admit it? Y'all don't want to make it better. You don't want to make it more productive or anything like that. You just want to destroy the country. Just admit it. Just come out and say it. Be honest. A growing number of millennials show support for communism and socialism. A survey from the victims of communism found. Yeah, communism, which has killed over 100 million, and socialism, which has rival numbers. I mean, their numbers rival that. Got to remember. When you talk about socialism and communism, you're talking about two of the most horrible people that are lumped into that. You got Joseph Stalin, who was just an awful human being. And then you got an even worse one with Adolf Hitler. Yeah. Those are not ideologies or political movements that I want to associate with in any way, shape, or form. Come on, man. The survey conducted by the victims of communism and polled by the research and data firm YouGov found that 70% of millennials are likely to vote socialist, and that 1 in 3 millennials perceive communism as favorable. What amazes me is that 70% of people want to vote socialist. They don't know, these people don't know the histories of who created these type of things, do they? I mean, do they have any idea? Are the schools even teaching history anymore? I don't understand. The survey is part of the Victim of Communism's report, U.S. Attitudes Towards Socialism, Communism, and Collectivism, which polled 2,100 people in the United States who were 16 and older with a margin of error of plus minus 2.4%. A little over half of the millennials polled said the Declaration of Independence guarantees freedom and equality better than the Communist Manifesto. A little over half. That should be 100%. This stupid little tiny book is ridiculous. The reason I have it is because it makes me chuckle. I can get a good belly laugh from reading it because it only takes, 30, 45 minutes to read something like this. And that's supposed to be how to set up a government. That little tiny book that you couldn't even level a damn table with. This is supposed to be on how to set up a government. A pathetic government, too. One that just will not fundamentally work. Ugh. God. Why would communism... How do you think that would work? Say I get up and go to work every day. Working my butt off. But my neighbor, he considers himself an artist. And so he doesn't get up and go to work every day. He's not contributing, as a commie would like to say. He's not contributing to the greater good. How is that going to work? Don't you think that the guy that gets up and goes to work every day is going to get fed up and say, you know what, why am I busting my ass for this guy to sit and do nothing? I'm not going to do that. No one in their right minds would do that. Communism is a flawed, it's trash. It's absolute trash. Yeah, it sounds good. It sounds, oh, yes, peace, blah, blah, blah. And none of that's true with communism. Everything it claims to be, it is the opposite of that. Open your dang eyes, people. Man, this makes me upset. I don't know if you can tell that, but yes, it's rather upsetting to know that our youth of this nation, the next leaders of our nation, are so freaking stupid. So stupid. The historical amnesia about the dangers of communism and socialism is on full display in this year's report, said Marion Smith, executive director of the Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation. Quote, when we don't educate our youngest generations about the historical truth of the 100 million victims murdered at the hands of communist regimes over the past century, we should be surprised at their willingness to embrace Marxist ideas, Smith added. We need to redouble our efforts to educate America's youth about the history of communism, or communist, I keep saying communism, sorry, communist regimes and the dangers of socialism today. And socialism, communism, while similar, they're different. Because if you remember, Hitler was a socialist and he hated communists. But I think the only reason he hated communists because the communists he was talking about mainly were all Jewish people. You know, if it wasn't for that, I think Hitler would have been, he was walking down the path of communism. Socialism is just communism light, people. Millennials polled also said they consider President Donald Trump the biggest threat to world peace. Yeah, the president who is actively trying to pull our troops out of these endless wars and regime change wars, you know, all the stuff that Miss Tulsi Gabbard rails about, you know, and she agrees that we shouldn't be in these wars, and we are trying to not be this big policeman anymore. Yeah, we're going to do our little operations like we did this weekend. God bless the troops and all involved. Oh my God. This stuff just, it makes my brain race so much I can barely have one collective thought in my head right now. It's out of control, man. Yeah, Trump more dangerous to world peace than Russia's President Vladimir Putin, North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un, or Chinese President Xi Jinping. 10% of millennials said Trump is responsible for more deaths and human rights abuses than mass murder. Oh my! And Russia's leader Joseph Stalin or notorious Adolf Hitler. That's the most absurd thing I've ever heard in my life. That is the most absurd thing I've ever heard in my life. 10% of millennials believe that Donald Trump is responsible for more deaths and human rights abuses than mass murderer and Russian leader Joseph Stalin or notorious German dictator Adolf Hitler. Those 10% of millennials should have been rounded up at that moment and put in insane asylums. They are absolutely out of their minds. And thank you, media. This is your fault. This is the legacy media's fault. Because constant, almost, what is it, like 90% plus of news coverage of Trump is against him and not favorable to him. So this is what the people hear. People are stupid. The masses, not everybody. Let me say that. It's not a blanket statement. Like I always say, I don't try to do blanket statements. But obviously, we're dealing with some really stupid people in this survey. Let's go over to the actual survey and look at it. Yeah. 70% of millennials say they are likely to vote socialist. Oh my goodness. Look at that. At least there is a fat chunk right here that are not likely at all. So that's good. It gives us room for something. I don't know what. Who is the biggest threat to world peace? Donald Trump's the first. Kim Jong-un's the second. Vladimir Putin's the third. This is the most... And Nicolas Maduro's almost nothing. The guy whose country is literally falling apart at the seams because of socialism. Oh, seems like there's a little bit of a bias with these millennials, doesn't there? Oh, only 57% of millennials believe the Declaration of Independence guarantees freedom and equality over Communist Manifesto. The Communist Manifesto I showed you is foolish. It's ridiculous. There ain't no freedoms in communism. I'm sorry. I'm sure the hippie communists of the 60s and 70s, yeah, they were free. But where are they now? Most of them are not hippies anymore, I can tell you that. Most of them ended up going square and living life the way it's kind of made to be. You know, the sensible way. Because communism doesn't work. That's also why we saw a lot of cults. Because communism and socialism, that's nothing but a giant cult. Back in the 60s and 70s. But look at this. My generation. My generation's so pathetic. 57% of millennials. At least there's 57% of millennials that agree with our Constitution. But then you got these other fools. And look at the silent generation. The older folks and whatnot. The people that actually knew history and knew how to think about it properly and not twist it to their own ideological needs. They're almost 94%. 94%. Seems like they got something going on. What is going on? I mean, what is really up with this communism and socialism push? Are young people, are y'all all that lazy to where you just don't want to do anything and get paid for it? How does that even seem good? Like, to me, that's like, I don't know. I can't sit around and do nothing and expect to get paid for it. That's a weird mindset to have. That's a very, like, narcissistic mental mindset to have. There's something not right with your head. You need to examine yourself, people. If you're thinking that communism and socialism is a good idea, you should first pick up some history books, read them all. Read every history book about World War I, World War II, this, that, and the other, those eras. Read, and read again. And then if you still are believing that nonsense that you've been told, you should probably check yourself into a mental asylum. Because there's something broken in your head if you can't see the dangers from our past. If you don't heed the warnings of the past, you are bound to repeat what happened in the past. Come on, people. I'd love to hear your comments on this. And as always, like, share, and subscribe. And I will catch y'all on the flip side.